Let's see if the pedophiles who work for Microsoft can hear everything I do. Saying my social security number out loud.
Let's not waste time with that.
Okay, geez, man.
We have a game review.
Alright, man, just hold up. I gotta pick the hair out. Might take me a while.
Let's talk visuals.
Alright. Is that the most important thing for a game? I'll listen to what you have to say.
Skyrim's gone through a lot, but the visuals you're going to be seeing through this video are the special edition that came out in 2016. And for 2016 standards, this game is hideous.
What? Alright, I got a lot to say about that, but let's let this GooseMan keep going.
But it's not exactly fair to judge it against other games that came out in 2016. This game is just a remastered version of the 2011 version. So if we jumped back to the 2011 version, does it look good against another 2011 open world game? So on one hand, we have Skyrim. It was still rough. Man, that looks bad. And
Alright, dude, listen. I have a lot to say about my graphics, alright, involving a video game. But I'm gonna wait till the end. I just have to say, I've played Old Rim, and it still looks good. Skyrim looks good. It has good visuals, it has interesting areas, it has cool things to explore and find. So, this is probably one of my biggest gripes with your video, is you just dog on Skyrim's graphics so hard. And it's not even a fair comparison. Later you'll hear right about now he talks about ODST. I've played ODST. Okay? It's not that good. You're talking about phenomenal graphics, right? Alright, I'll let him continue before I get into my whole lecture about graphics.
the only official footage I could find of it online is a 720p video, so this is getting crunched down really bad. But it is still rough enough that for nowadays, it would be seen as one of those games that came out for the 360 or PS3 as just kind of an ugly game. Like, honestly, I know some of you are probably questioning that, but the year before we got Halo Reach, and it looked far better than Skyrim. And the year before that, we got Halo ODST, which I would very much argue looked way, way, way better than Skyrim. But okay, let's jump back to our second option of a game from 2011 that is an open world game. Batman Arkham City came out actually a month before. Graphically, it's completely stunning. It's a game with a super high quality of visuals. I'm sure people could easily go back to that game nowadays and play it totally fine without worrying about the ugliness of the game at all. And
I've never played that game, but I'm sure, like most amazing cinematic quality games, it's highly scripted. Alright, so you gotta consider all these different values you take and give from games.
unfortunately for Skyrim, that also makes Skyrim look really bad that a game that looks this good came out at that time. But we do have to talk about the fact that since its inception, it's been modded to look better. In one way or another, based on everybody's individual interests, the game has been modded to make it less quote-unquote ugly. This is almost from a complete consensus of the game just not looking good enough for people to play.
What consensus, dude? Where was this high council of playing games? Alright? The game looks great. And, you know, I'm going to save the argument for later, but it's a good game. It looks good. Nothing wrong with it, alright? This is such a non-argument.
Admit that the special edition has its moments, but they're few and far between. The game can look pretty good at times, but unfortunately it's hindered by the constant visual glitches and the really, really short render distance. It just kinda
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I can literally see Nazim's fat head from High Hrothgard, alright?
comes together awkwardly, and this isn't even talking about the choice of color in the game. This came out back in 2011 when colors didn't exist in video games and everybody thought that a game would look good if it was just kinda brown. It was just this horrible stint of gaming where all games had to be
Alright, he goes kind of on this like psychotic rant about brown bad. I don't even see it. I've literally been playing Skyrim Special Edition on my Switch, which I guess his argument is that Special Edition fixed it. He then says it's like still brown or something, but I don't see it. The trees are green. What? Are you mad that the dirt is brown? That's the color of dirt, right? The lighting is kind of orange in my opinion. I would say that's an argument, but most of the lighting is fire based, and that's just realistic. Kind of hurts the eyes though.
Brown, and it just looked terrible. Some games even had filters to make the game look more brown. But fortunately enough for Skyrim, 5 years after its release, it was given the stunning reimagination in the special edition that just kind of bumps up the colors and gets rid of the brown. In saying that, they didn't actually get rid of all the brown. The game is still quite brown in its new state. But okay, I do have to get...
Oh my god, guys. I'm hiding in my closet right now. The brown is gonna get me. Wait. I think that's it coming. Hello there.
Give them some points for creativity through the game. The enemy designs are pretty creative, and it's kinda cool in this game. From the Dwemer machines to just the Thalmor, the game has a decent style that really fits the lore and the world as a whole. In saying that though, I do have to bring up another negative, which is unfortunate, and that's the characters. The models are so weird, they're just kinda stiff and almost lifeless. In a game that's supposed to be a living, breathing world, everybody being kind of lifeless action figures that move around just feels awkward. And
What is this guy even talking about? This is when I think of games that have like really good, immersive, NPC behavior. I tend to think of Skyrim. The NPCs, they walk around and do their predictable tasks, and it's a really nice thing. I don't know what this guy's talking about. Like in Halo, you literally got people just standing there, actually not moving or doing anything. So he kind of makes a good point and then just reiterates with a terrible point. Because yes, the designs are awesome in this game.
Don't get me on how they interact with each other. When two characters or two models of anything interact with each other, Jesus, this game just wants to vomit all over itself. This is some real Fable 3 level character interactions. But okay, let's leave Skyrim with its ugliness and move...
The game is not about this guy wants to just walk around and stare at the NPCs all day, right? It's not about the NPCs, it's about the player character and their interaction in the world. And the dialogue is good, it's immersive. Alright, it's time for the lecture. Saying my graphics is the stupidest, most smooth brain monkey ape argument. Alright, you fucking Chungus. That's what you are, dude. You're on Chungus brain. You got a Chungus brain. So, that's it. It's an awful argument. This is coming from a guy who likes raycasters, and I like the older Doom games, and my favorite games ever are like Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, Skyrim Special Edition, and Doom. And I'm not gonna go and buy Doom Eternal. Alright, you kill guys, that's it. Alright, I don't need to kill demons in HD graphics. Alright, people who complain about graphics, they want a cinematic experience. Alright, go watch a fucking movie. Okay? Watch a movie if you want a cinematic experience. What do you think the cinema is? Alright? These people seriously want a interactive movie. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Go watch a movie, you moron. I want an open world game, character customization, and freedom. If that comes at the cost of graphics, then so be it. And it's the same case for a game like Monster Hunter, where everyone says, oh, it's the PS2 graphics, I can't play that. Good. I don't want you to bring your crappy normie attitude, especially not your normie dollars, to my franchise. Alright? Because when that happens, is the fucking corporations, they buck to you, you know? They're all like, yeah, fuck all these old fans, and I'm gonna go to the money. And, you know, here we are, the old fans, raped, used, fucking Serana and Mulug Bull. That's us. We're Mulug Bull's little bitch. That's the corporations. They're fucking evil god pedophiles who wanna fuck her ass. Alright, that was a little vulgar, but it's true. It's 100% true, and I would definitely get like some kind of belt that protects your anus, because this is the modern day. We've already seen it, and that thing is gonna get exploded. Because it's freaking over, man. Because it's guys like this who are, it's gonna affect the Elder Scrolls 6. It's guys like this, all right? Because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen to Monster Hunter. All right, World is the worst Monster Hunter game. Get that through your head. If you're stupid enough to believe it's not, if that's not the case, then dislike, unsubscribe, say something mean in the comments like, Enoch, you're a fucking retard. Yeah, say that. And then never come back. Alright, I want to see your seethe. I want to enjoy your seething. Alright, you're seething like a little writhing worm. Alright? Because graphics do not mean shit. Alright, I like Morrowind. Even though I stole some crazy psychopath's potatoes and she killed me. That sucked, but I like Morrowind. Graphics be damned. I like Oblivion, despite me going to the Kvatch and then getting completely killed by like a scamp or something. Still a good game, alright? Regardless of the graphics, because the graphics are still good even if they're not HD. If they released an HD version that was highly stable, not like this modded stuff, highly stable, highly optimized, Oblivion and Morrowind, I would buy that, because I am a God Howard simp. Alright, I would buy it. Why else do I have money? To pay taxes? Alright, I paid the taxes. What else am I use access with? Some form of consumerism. Might as well be some kind of masterpiece like the Elder Scrolls series. I totally would. And I think, you know, if someone knows God Howard, you should tell him. And I'm sure it's not that hard. They could just steal like the mods or whatever and do it. It'll work, man. I swear to God. Us consumers will buy anything, because as long as it distracts us from this pitiful material enslavement existence bullcrap. Anyways, so yeah, argument of graphics, the worst ever. The older Halo games are way better than Halo 4, or God forbid, like, was it like Halo 5 or whatever. I have that game. I bought it with my money, alright? Money, which I have slaved for in this wretched world. And I had to give my credit card and my social security number and my birth certificate and my license and my foreskin to Microsoft, because they wanted to offer it to Satan or something like that. I don't remember. To buy like the new Halo game, and it sucked balls. All right, I got plopped some fucking balls in my mouth playing that game, and it sucked. Okay, now that's vulgar, but it's true. That really happened. All right. Bill Gates came off of his best friend's island, right in a fucking scramjet, came to my house in a millisecond, and it fucking plopped his balls. Yep. That happened. In Minecraft. That happened in Minecraft, yeah. You probably seen me play Autocraft, so I like to mod Minecraft, and that was a mod I did. So you can't label me for something that really happened in Minecraft. Alright, that's not libel. It's not slander and libel, because it happened in Minecraft. So I play Monster Hunter. My PS2 graphics. Alright, whatever. It is the best game I've ever played. It has amazing armoring, customization, and when you strategize, you feel the improvement, alright? And GU was just super fun. It was just all that old stuff, and because it was an anniversary title, it made sense. It was all that old stuff, and it was just to the fans. Perfect game. The last good Monster Hunter game. Rise is alright. I'm holding out for Rise Ultimate. I'm not a fan of all this baby tier stuff that World added. And oh jeez, let me tell you about this. To all these cinematic gamers or whatever, one of my biggest gripes, something that irks me so much in World, is the cutscenes. Okay, there were no cutscenes in Monster Hunter. Well, there were, but it was about the monsters and the areas. It wasn't about some weird fan fiction with the ugly handler who looks like she's a 9 out of 10 in Bongland. Jesus Christ. Let me keep the other handler. That's it about Monster Hunter. And that's my warning with Skyrim. Luckily, mods have a huge freaking gap. Bigger gap than Serana has. Alright? For getting into it. Alright? Modding is the biggest pain I've ever done and wasted my time with. And there are just levels of commitment. And I'm right now at the phase like, alright, fine, I made the perfect mod list, and then I've dealt with all my CTDs, crash to desktops, and all this, and my behaviors. I think is pretty good. But then I have to deal with like optimization and more stuff, like actually having to get deeper into it. It's just it's a rabbit hole, you know? So that's a good thing. So casual players, because every person that wants a cinematic experience is a casual. Alright, you're a casual. Casual players are not going to get into it. That's a good thing. Alright, that is a good thing. And yeah, I'm just hopeful that, who knows now that Microsoft has bought Bethesda, but I'm hopeful that it won't tend towards the path that they buck to the cinematic users, cinematic casuals. That's good audio. Make sure to get that. So, because I feel that's going to happen, it happens with every game, and it's going to happen when The Elder Scrolls 6 is released in 20 million years from now. It's going to be that, probably. It's going to suck really bad in some way, and it's going to be really unfortunate. I'll probably just keep playing Skyrim. Probably mod. To the point where I mod Oblivion or Morrowind or something. Like, these people who like have such a hard on for graphics. They're so insane, dude. They want like 69 for 20K, 10 grillion graphics. They want it so it's so good. It's imperceivable to the human eye at all, right? Like, at some point, our eyes are so stupid that we can see frames going on. That's what everything is, anyways. In the most simple case, right? You get a flip book. I'm sure we've all done this. You move it fast enough, it looks like it's moving. A motion picture, right? That's how stupid our eyes are. And these guys want like that times a billion. How? What? Yo, when you're a guy like me, you can just abstract things to be okay with it. Like, a door is a door. You go through a door. I don't need an HD texture on a door. And I did that. I have HD textures on doors. I don't need an HD texture on grass. Did it anyways. It's in this video. You could probably see it. Except, actually, I went for 1K for a lot of these stuff, except when they only had 2K options. But yeah. So this is a complete non-argument of graphics and is stupid. That's all I have to say. Just
Move on to something more pleasurable. Maybe if I just lean back, close my eyes, and listen to the world of Skyrim, it'll sound a bit better than it looks. Game sounds really good. They captured that rustic Nordic feeling that they were going for within the game and the music. This is definitely going to be a soundtrack that's going to be remembered for years to come. But unfortunately the audio can't be perfect because this is Skyrim and it made a slip here with just a tiny little mistake. And by tiny I mean it's pretty major and has been made fun of for years.
alright, so yeah, he's actually right for once. He doesn't have the wrong opinion, because yes, in this case there is a wrong opinion, especially in the case of graphics, especially in that case, and most people tend to be wrong. So his good opinion, where he's right, is about the audio. The audio is awesome, and I modded my game to have even higher quality sounds, and I had that turned up, and it is awesome. I love the sounds in Skyrim. Yeah, except then he goes on and says, like, so after the Watchtower event, or yeah, before the Watchtower event, when you return to give the Dragonstone, you then activate the Watchtower event, and you hear the Jarl talk to a guard. And when you're going upstairs, he hears the guard enters dialogue with him, just the normal dialogue that you enter with a guard, which, first of all, kind of proves his other points wrong, because that is an interaction with an NPC, a character interaction, which is interesting. So that does add life to the quote-unquote breathless figurines. I'm not going to do all of the audio part because he is basically correct that it is awesome. Except for that one part, because so you hear that audio a little louder when you're right next to the guard. Because you're right next to the guard. That's called immersion! Immersion! Oh, I love immersion. Oh yeah. It's immersion time, baby. That's right. Immersion. That is immersion. That is immersive. Shut up. That's it. It's immersion. And yes, I did hear what the Jarl said. Alright. I heard it. I got ears, I hear two things at once. It might have been a little annoying, but it was immersive. If you've ever talked to more than two people, or if you have like a group of friends, all right, if you do, Mr. GooseMan, you might enter the case where people are talking at multiple times. That's called real life, all right. You can't complain about a game being too much, stiff and unreal, and then when it comes to the immersion, you're like, immersion bad. Okay. So, and yes, I could hear it. And also, that was the guard. That was the guard that you're talking to, okay? That's the guard who's supposed to report about it. Of course the guard is going to be there. It's not a random guard. It was the guard. I know this because I played Skyrim a million times, right? And not for YouTube. And I also watched the clip. It was the guard. I don't know, man. Just get over it. It's immersive.
Stop! You violated the law. Pay the...
Alright, and then he goes on to actually completely steal a Lefebvre Bros video. That's who it is for any of you normies that watch this guy and don't know who it is. Also, you're probably stupid for not knowing, because clear you've never even played the Elder Scrolls if you don't even know. Because, yeah, you're dumb. I'm just kidding. I'm not that huge of a gatekeeper, but it was kind of messed up. This guy just completely stole the entire 36 seconds of the video. Didn't leave any sauce, bro. That was so dry. That was dry, my man. Need some sauce. Alright, so that's Lefebvre Bros. I'm not gonna steal it like he did. Alright, and I'm also gonna link his video, so I want you to watch that. I want you to watch the review, because I'm gonna cut some stuff. I want you to watch the full review. Make sure to have ad block just all the time. Even on my videos, please have ad block. If you don't use ad block, you're a complete moron. Yeah, super easy. Get the Brave browser or something, or just get uBlock. I don't care. All right, get ad block. It's so easy. You're a total moron if you don't use ad block, and I can't believe you're so stupid that you've been watching ads for literally years. So yeah, that's my gripe with you the viewer, and I'm actually gonna kind of skip most of the part he talks about next. Well, I'm not gonna skip talking about it, but I'm not gonna play it. Just go watch it. He complains, first of all, he uses the Lefebvre Bros video titled Oblivion 4, so I'll just refer to it as the Oblivion 4 video. He completely misunderstands it. The video isn't complaining about the voice acting. Alright, actually the voice acting is really good, and I think most people would agree that it's really cool. Oblivion probably has some of the best voice acting. As well as Morrowind. Skyrim does have its moments, like with Parthenax, alright? So don't get me wrong there. And there are some points in the other games, I'm not going to be pedantic about it, but still. So he misunderstands the point. It has nothing to do with the voice acting, it has to do with the guard AI. It makes me question if this guy has ever even played Oblivion, right? I'm not the guy to talk about it, say I'm the master Oblivion player, but because I'm not, alright? I haven't played this game as much as I played Skyrim. I'm a Skyrim baby idiot, alright? I'm a little Skyrim baby, okay? Yeah, I'm not as cool as all you Morrowind players. Oh, I played Morrowind when I was 14 and it released. I played the whole game all night. Of course, I don't have a girlfriend. What? So yeah. Sorry, I'm not as cool as you guys. I have the games. I will play them, and hopefully my girlfriend will then leave me when I play them. Oh wait, I don't have one. So I guess I'm already on the road to success. That's Sigma Rule 180 million. Don't have a girlfriend. Waste the money. Or something like that. So the video is complaining about the guard AI. The Oblivion 4 is memeing about guard AI, and it's funny because the guard AI is funny. Alright? Has this guy just never seen any videos about this? it's not about the voice acting. It really isn't. All right. And he continues to complain about the voice acting. All right, turn up the volume, play the game. What's his name? Farengar. He complains about Farengar being like the worst voice actor ever. He's not. He fits the role. All right. He's kind of like a secluded mage who has really no other intellectual counterparts except for maybe oh shit, I forgot her name. The girl, the alchemist who is in Whiterun. It's funny I forget her name because I literally talk to her all the time. All the time. Alchemy is an awesome skill. You know what? I've been playing like vanilla on Legendary on my Switch, and you know, I see this guy's video. He gets a lot of views. Maybe I should make money from idiots who don't know how to activate ad block. So maybe I'll do like a challenge video of like putting poisons in people's pockets or something like that. Maybe that'd be cool. Who knows? I'm pretty lazy though. I don't even like editing. I mean, it took me like 3 days just to do this, or just to get to doing this, not to actually do it. Like, whatever. The voice acting is good. This guy's played the main quest line so much, yet clearly hasn't listened to any of the NPCs. They all have good lines, good acting. It's all very immersive. That's it, you know. Play the freaking game. That's all my advice to you. Yeah, what you want each guard to be named and have their own voice actors? Like, what's your freaking problem, man? I can go to Whiterun right now, turn into a werewolf, and kill like 100 guards. All right, you want this unique named Heimbjorn NPC for me to just kill and eat his heart, and his unique voice line is then useless? No, that's stupid. Okay, just takes like solace. You know, enjoy the fact that there's also female guards who have their own voice lines. You know, the guards say their own unique things. It doesn't really matter. They just have this. They're general Nordic guards, and they say general things. They're not. It's just such a weird point that this guy just really tries to nail in, is that the game is bad because the guards are bad. There's one voice actor for the guards, game is bad. Yeah, there's also like the captains too. I'm pretty sure they all have like different voice actors. I don't know, so they're like the guys who are bald or something. Look into that if you want. There's also like y'all usually has some kind of like a battle chief or something. If you play Civil War, you hear from them more. So yeah, they have, you know, special voice actors. I like the one from. They're all good actually. Bulgriffs, Ulfrics. They're like guy. I don't know what they're called. I've only done like Civil War like twice.
But alright, the visuals, terrible. Audio, pretty sweet to be honest. And what about the most important thing? The gameplay. Does Skyrim play well? About 6 or 7 minutes into this video, and this is going to be one of the hardest topics to talk about. Everyone has their own preference on how a game plays, but for me, I'm not really sure that Skyrim's that great of a game.
Yes, Skyrim plays well. Alright, and it is great, especially in this very simplistic sense, because personally I find it very stupid when I have to press SFX, control shift, backspace, back, up, jump, R, TZ, hyphen, tilde, and then right click a million times, and then press X a million times to do the quick event. No thanks. I think that's really annoying just to do like, I don't know, a somersault, parry, backstab. No thanks, you know. That's my opinion, which is it's the correct opinion, all right? Because the games are limited. Even VR is limited. How far you can go technologically, it's better to keep things simple. Simple with programmed combos, switching between combos, and Skyrim does actually have gameplay. There's a direction between power attacks. You can move backwards, strafe, all you want. You can also use a shield, which you might know if you don't just do stupid challenge videos. Okay, use a shield. You can do a bash if you're two-handed or whatnot. You got vegetable soup. Boom, infinite bashing, which is a feature and not a bug. That's how I think of everything. Feature, not a bug. There's no such thing as a bug in Skyrim. Everything is there 100% intentional, and it is meant to be used. And yeah, you can totally get your speech way up and get all the money and stuff, sell to any vendor, sell all these potions and get all this money, but that's gonna take a whole lot of time. Just use glitches, just use secret chest. It doesn't matter, man. My dog is really unhappy. So yeah, there is combat. It is good. It's not some crazy anime crap, like God Eater or whatever. Super annoying game, by the way. Hate the combat. Hold up. Puppy, come here. Say hi. So yeah, in fact, I think the gameplay is very realistic, and dare I say it, immersive. That's right. You can install mods and make it better. Personally, I don't like it. You might see through the footage. Like, I don't want this Dark Souls crap where you're gonna like roll through an enemy's attack. It's just too much, all right? And maybe you're then gonna post like some kind of like cringe guy who lives in his mom's basement doing some kind of like crazy like sword tricks or something. It's just not realistic, all right? Like a sword will kill you super easily. All right, this stuff's dangerous, and it's a game. Like the game itself isn't that realistic. The armor doesn't bounce off, but it improves your rating. So you gotta take some and lose some. You want like some insane parries or something? You can have a two-handed weapon and block and cancel someone's attack. There's your parry for you, all right, pal? But this like Dark Souls-esque stuff, I just think it's cringe, and someone's gonna like say something about fencing, right? Fencing, you got this little stick, little aluminum rod. Do you know the difference between holding a great sword is like up to like 80 pounds? You can swing this thing, a warhammer. This is an anime game, and when you're on a horse, you actually have to be really secured and fastened to the horse if you actually want to do combat on a horse. And it's still really hard to fasten yourself, so you don't want to flip off. Levels of realism. You can fight on your horse in Skyrim too. It's just not it's not the smoothest. I'd rather just get off the horse and slap the guys and move on. But it's possible if you want. Sometimes I do it if they're like taller, like a skeleton. They'll just little brittle bones will explode. Not a big deal.
So many times, and I normally end my gameplays at level 3. That's probably my overall average. I know sometimes I'm less and sometimes I'm more. It's just I'm normally powerful enough at level 3 to beat it. And you might be thinking, why is that? Why not level up and become stronger and make it easier for yourself? Well, at that point, you'd have to understand two key factors about Skyrim. One, the enemies scale with your level. So once you hit a threshold, the enemies that spawn will always spawn as the stronger version of that same enemy. And more importantly, two, your power doesn't scale as fast as the enemies do. This effectively means that over the game, you're actually becoming weaker. You end up needing a lot better equipment and the right perks just to make it so the dungeons that you could have easily beaten at a lower level are not as challenging. And
Oh no. God forbid the game gets difficult. Oh no. You have to level in the game? You actually have to try hard in the game. You have to progress. You have to progress your character. What a stupid idea of a game. I just wanna press X, maybe do a quick time event where I left click. I want my cinematic experience. No. No, no, no. No. The game works perfectly well. You level up, you get perks. Enemies level up with you. Alright? It makes it fair. Especially when you play on the baby mode like you do. Alright? Usually I play expert, I guess. Though legendary is not very hard, okay? If you're doing a challenge like this guy, you know, you probably don't want to be doing it over and over again. You want to do some basic stuff first and then set it up so you can do the challenge of the main story after. But yeah, the scaling difficulty is a good thing. You do legendary, enemies have more health, you do less damage. That's called difficulty, man. What do you want? It's legendary. It's not, it's not like novice or people who just want to play the game. So he just goes on, like, maybe I'll play it so you can hear how annoying it is. He just says, the enemies are cheating. They're cheating. Yeah, okay, say that when I have Elemental Fury, an orc uses his racial power and just obliterate a mammoth, entire giant colony, They're gone. And the reason, if you don't level up very much, is because you're not doing very many things. You level up as you do things. That's a good feature. You attack, you increase based on the attack. You do destruction magic, one-handed, two-handed. That's cool. You sneak, you get sneak. You do sneak attacks, you get sneak. You do archery, you get archery. You use the magic type, you get conjuration, restoration, alteration, illusion. You get them all up. And there's more skills like enchanting and smithing. I don't see a single thing wrong. This is probably the biggest non-complaint ever. Yeah, you can stay at level 1. Just don't wear any armor. Attack with your fists. Do nothing to gain XP. Completely possible. You can actually get to the entire game. You just grab the bound bow. You can make it all the way to Alduin. Super easy. Boom. You just use the bow on Alduin to do the finishing move, or you can punch him. Doesn't matter. You could do that. It's kind of not fun that way. It's cool to have these progressions. It feels, you get rewarded. You become stronger. It can be very, very overpowered, which is why people enjoy the difficulty settings like legendary, which in my opinion is actually still baby mode. This game is broken. You gotta add mods to make it harder. That's not me flexing. That's just me telling the general truth. Maybe you want to turn off legendary mode when you're power leveling. But just turn it back on, and you know, like if you're power leveling destruction magic, dude, it'll just take freaking forever on legendary. It's still easy, you know. Once you get all this stuff set up, it's doable. So I don't know what this guy's on about. It's it's all good. I don't know what you want. It's just like the base character to just be the same forever and do nothing.
Some of you might also be thinking that that's a difficulty setting thing, which it isn't. Skyrim's difficulty setting effectively makes it feel as though you'd level to, let's say, level 10 by the time you just start the game. So you die so fast because enemies are doing 3 times the damage, have 3 times the health, and take 3 times less damage. While at the same time, you're taking 3 times the damage and you have 3 times less armor. This doesn't make Skyrim hard. This is kind of like when strategy games get to the point where they don't know how to program the AI to be any better, so they just make them cheat. Once the AI is playing at a perfect level, they should be on a perfect level to be the skill ceiling for a player. But they're not, so they have them cheat, which is what Skyrim's doing. They're just having enemies cheat and be stronger than you. But, unlike the strategy game, they're not giving you the same advantages you normally have when you play. They're actually restricting you and making you weaker. To bring it to another analogy, what if I talk about playing Smash Brothers?
What do you want, my man? Like, you want, like, to be, like, have some kind of, like, negative effect the whole time, or, like, you can't use weapons, or, like, come on, dude. He goes on this whole, like, weird rant about Smash Bros. To apparently make some kind of, like, I don't know, connection. Personally, I don't see it. And then he just says stuff that's, you know, completely, like, basically insane. Like, yes, that does make the game harder. That is a difficulty thing. Is you give the character more attack and health, you make you do less attack. That is harder. What? Just don't play on legendary, bro. Clearly, it's not for you. All right, you don't have to play on legendary to play the game. You don't get you don't get like some kind of medal or like trophy that says played legendary. It's the same feat. This guy talked about playing Halo. It's the same thing for Halo. You play Halo on legendary. I think that's what it's called. I was playing Halo 4 on legendary recently. It's the same thing. There's more damage. There's like more health. It's like there's nothing what you're talking about that like you can turn on the skulls to improve the AI or whatever. I guess like there's a bit of improvement, but like this guy wants like the enemies to be doing like anime like backflips and like it's crazy stuff, man. Yeah, I'm gonna skip the whole part with Smash Bros. It's just kind of weird, but yeah.
Do you know what? That adds the level of luck that they might land a hit on you and you would then die. But you know what I'm getting at. It's not exactly harder to just die faster. Okay, so if you agree or not, the difficulty in this game is really dumb. So let's move on at whatever difficulty you enjoy. For me, it's Adept, which is whatever the game considers to be quote-unquote normal, and go back and see if the core elements of the game make it play well. Well, combat in the game is a mess. The AI are just stupid. They're either super easily predictable with their attacks, or you can just avoid most of their damage because they're just not aiming it in the right spot. This does depend on the enemy though, because dragons are just kind of a nightmare in general. Not only because they fly and look ridiculous while they fly, but because their attacks deal a lot of damage from really far away, and they can get you animation locked in a death animation really easily. They can also roar to stun you and attack you from a big...
Alright, so here's another issue, right? Is this guy's complaints are just like basically I can't play the game, so it's a bad game. Yeah, that's basically my argument for why I don't like Dark Souls. Which I'm kidding, I do actually like Dark Souls and Bloodborne. It's just, it's a hard game, you know. And that's it, you know. It's a really nice looking game, like cool immersive lore with nice theme. And when I say nice looking, I'm not talking about HD graphics, okay? You better know what I'm talking about, okay? Jeez. And then, so if you're fighting a dragon and it's shooting, you know, fire at you, alright, just use like the Spellbreaker shield or a ward. Get the, what's it, like the, it's not the Atronach, it's something. I usually only use the XP stones or something, so. It's like the one that lets you absorb magicka. It's not a big deal. It's like, you can't fight a dragon, therefore it's bad. That's crazy. And when you get the dragon to low health, they usually stay on the ground. It's just basically a non-argument, you know.
Your range that you can attack them from, which is why we end up leading into the stealth archer gameplay. But for most of the game, you're fighting some kind of humanoid enemy that'll fight you in a very predictable way, even if they're also archers, which you can easily dodge by just moving from side to side. It's actually kind of funny to watch them do it. But
what does this guy want? Like homing arrows? Like what? You want the arrows to like chase you?
once you're locked into melee combat, it's just kind of spam attack or heavy attack until the enemy dies. Or block, I guess, if you're into that. There isn't a lot of strategy in fighting in this game. You just kind of click a bunch until the enemy dies, or until you die, or you use a healing potion or heal yourself. It doesn't help that for a fantasy game where they're encouraging melee combat, the melee combat is probably the worst aspect and on the same level as Halo. Like, come on.
So, some more like complaints about the combat that is just generally incorrect. And saying it's like Halo where you just like do like the elbow punch. That's not this game at all, man. Like, there is strategy, there's enchantments and spells and whatnot. You know, I don't really know what this guy wants. Like, if you really abstract it, it's all the same thing. Like, whether you want quick time events or to press, you know, all these buttons like SQRD, PKJ, tilde, shift all the same time, you know, press alt F4. How's that gonna improve your fun? That doesn't make it fun, you know. I just don't get it, you know. In the abstraction, hit a guy, lose health, they die. This guy sounds like he really likes cinematic games where, like, you know, you do a quick time event and then they change to another phase and they have dialogue. Like, come on, dude. Like, just like a better game. Play a different game.
Conscience, go into the game's gameplay glitches, we would be here for literally hours talking about the glitches in the game that make no sense. All I'm gonna say is that we all know about autosave death loops that are horrible and people have gotten into all the time, and the ridiculous gameplay glitch of horse riding up a mountain. Yeah, we've all done it, but it's still a stupid thing that definitely shouldn't have been in the game in the first place.
Wrong, no, my friend. You're wrong. They are all features and not bugs, and that is how you should think about them. They are good, and even in modding, I have spent my time trying to fix all these stupid changes, these stupid idiot, small brain, smooth brain, modders fix for their own little, you know, vendettas. I spent the time to put them all back in, or as many as I could. Okay? And yeah, sure, I'll live without going to the Whiterun chest or Dawnstar chest and just reset the vendor's inventory. Not a big deal. But like something like if you're to remove that, that's insane, dude. Like, if you're to remove switching so that the vendors only reset after like 48 hours, dude, you're literally on something. That is completely insane. And then the horse was riding up the mountain. It's climbing, you know what? You're climbing. It's not a big deal. Anyways, most of these things that are called glitches aren't even glitches. They're not even exploits. Like free magic you use, of like you put on like 25% reduction on 4 pieces of armor. That's not a glitch, you know. That's not even close to the enchantment exploit. You can be pretty overpowered without it. And then about like the death loops, like, dude, that's your own fault for save scumming. You know, you complain about the game for one thing, like, oh, it's you know, it's too easy or something, like the glitches. That's not a glitch, man. That's you save scumming. All right. Yes, the game has a brief pause where your character can't move, but everything else moves. Good. That's what you get, save scummer.
Is really cool, and the fact that some people haven't even done things that others have done in the game is awesome and pretty unique to Skyrim, especially at the time it came out. But spoilers ahead for the main story of Skyrim, so if you want to skip that, click here if you don't already know the story of Skyrim somehow. So Skyrim starts. You're this nameless, raceless prisoner about to be executed alongside a rebel and suspected murderer.
You're accused of crossing the border, and Ulfric is not a murderer. He's being slandered by the Imperials and Empire because he fairly challenged the Emperor. And
this is when you make your character, name them, and then, like most Elder Scrolls games, start as a prisoner. Okay, they get a pass there, they can keep that trend going. Then, when you're made and ready, you're going to be executed when a miracle happens and a dragon, a beast that hasn't been seen in forever, attacks and you escape with either a red guy or a blue guy.
Way to reduce a conflict. Imperials and Stormcloaks is actually a very interesting part of the lore, and it's actually something you can even understand just from playing from the beginning. You see that the Skyrim is engaged in a civil war. The leader of the Imperials, Ulfric Stormcloak, is there with you, and you're being sent to be executed by the Imperials. You're basically set up to kind of align with them, feel sympathy. So it's not just about a red guy and a blue guy.
Once you've escaped, you are recommended to go to Whiterun, where you can meet the Jarl, but if you know the game to any degree, you know you need a weapon and should head to Bleak Falls Barrow to find the Dragonstone. It's in this temple that you kill a Draugr overlord and take said stone. Fights like this aren't really anything to talk about. Humanoid enemies, like I've said, are easy to make do their heavy swing and then kill them. So we head to the Jarl of Whiterun, tell him about our luck in not being beheaded, and he sends us off to his court wizard, Captain Voice Acting, to hand over the Dragonstone and get told that the city is being attacked by a dragon. And for some reason, us, without any experience in fighting dragons, are recruited.
You basically just contradicted yourself. Alright, you just said that dragons have basically never been seen for many years. Right? Who would next then have the best experience to handle a dragon except for someone who has personally seen one at Helgen, as well as someone who has aided the Jarl in his wizard to retrieve the Dragonstone. Clearly, you're recognized as some kind of capable warrior, as well as you're being aided by Eorlith and the entire, basically, Whiterun guardsmen.
By the Jarl to help defend the city against said dragon. Good thing we are, because when the dragon falls to our combined might, we absorb its soul and return to the Jarl to tell him about something crazy going on, and he sends us off to go see the Playbeards. They're supposed to help me learn what it means to be Dragonborn, and not the race from Dungeons and Dragons. Just some strange yelling guy who's supposed to save the world.
Your shouts are essentially the dragon language. That's how dragons speak. You speak with these words of power, and they're quite strong. In fact, if you even listen to the game, one of the criticisms, which is given towards Ulfric in his defeating of the evil High King is using the voice to shut him down. And Ulfric was trained by the Greybeard, so he does know shouts. And the Dragonborn is actually basically a legendary figure. He's essentially, by destiny, the only kind of person who can really defeat a dragon, as well as master their voice. Or really, that's at least what the Blades would believe, whereas Paarthurnax more has the correct sort of philosophy about it, is that the Dragonborn is essentially a servant of Akantosh, just like they are. And, to engage in conflict is essentially a personal matter. And I actually think that's one of the issues the story had, is why should I have stopped Alduin? I didn't really have much of a reason. And Paarthurnax really, he argued that well. He says, he basically says, well, if you see it, then clearly you're more attuned with destiny. You have clearer eyes than he does. Him, an ancient dragon who has spent many, many years essentially meditating.
So we head off to see them. They teach me about yelling. It all comes from the diaphragm, according to them. They then task us to go find the Horn of York and Windcaller, the final task to see if we are the true Dragonborn. It's easy enough. You use the shout that you just learned from them to find a note instead of the horn. This seems to be the point when the game loses its mind and forces you into situations that don't really make any sense. You go to Riverwood, meet a woman named Dolphin.
You go to Riverwood to meet Delphine, okay? And you also get a letter from a friend if you actually play the game long enough, from a courier, which is also a message from her. So, I also really don't like these really stupid and annoying nicknames this Mr. GooseMan gives the characters. Delphine is already stupid enough. She doesn't need a nickname.
She has the horn that you've been looking for, but before you leave, she wants to know if you are Dragonborn, and to do so, she asks you to kill a dragon with her. Really, with no reason to follow her, you do anyway.
There is a reason. She's attempting to convince you about it if you even listen to the dialogue. And also, your biggest reason to even believe her is the fact that she clearly knows about the Dragonborn. She went through the trouble of going, Ustengrav, to get the Horn of Jurgen Windcaller, just to get your attention. So I think it makes fairly a lot of sense to follow her in general. I mean, you might not have to, in your own personal choice, but in terms of advancing the story, can't really see any argument against it, where it's apparently the game losing its mind. I don't really see that.
This leads to you seeing a dragon, rezzing another dragon, and then you fight that zombified dragon with Dolphin. Once the dragon's down, Dolphin tells you that it must be the agents of evil, the Thalmor, that are bringing back the dragons. And if you ask her why she thinks that when she just saw another dragon bring another one back to life, her response is, and I quote, she doesn't have anything solid. But of course, you go along with this even though you know it doesn't make any sense.
It's not her best reasoning, but it does actually, it would make sense if you were to consider the fact that the Thalmor basically dislike the Nords and their worship of Talos, and they want the Empire, who are their essentially ideal puppets, to, overcome them. They claim that they don't really care who wins the war, which is probably true in general, but clearly the Empire is more submissive than the Stormcloaks are, so they would generally have a favor for that. But generally the destruction of Skyrim through dragons would benefit them. And clearly she is very essentially suspicious and kind of neurotic. She doesn't even really tell you anything until after you beat the dragon. So she has a great dislike of the Thalmor, so it's at least generally worth investigating to see what they know, because the Thalmor they kind of come from that position of the Altmer, kind of knowing more, being the more intelligent race, more organized and such. Because it wouldn't make sense if it were the Imperials, Elves are kind of surrounded by this mysterious, like, very in tune with magic, mystical kind of vibe. Resurrecting dragons, there's no necromancers throughout the game. I wouldn't say it's that beyond belief. So I would generally suspend the belief and allow it.
And you're at the Thalmor party now, killing elves so you can find some books to just so happen to
Good. I hate elves.
find one that's important to Dolphin that tells her a friend of hers named Burns. The book says he happens to be living in the sewers of Riften and just at this moment is being hunted by the Thalmor that I really just needlessly murdered. So
You actually just completely contradicted yourself in this point.
of course I go after him, and sneaking past the Thalmor, I finally find him, gather him, and we sneak past to go back to Dolphin for some more exposition about the story. We learn that the Blades have a secret hidden fort built near the Markarth area, and inside it tells us how to defeat the dragon we saw at the beginning of the game, who just happens to be Alduin, the son of Akatosh and destroyer of the world. In this
It doesn't just so happen. It's all kind of part of the prophecy of, essentially, of Alduin, who's the world eater. Is that even in the past they couldn't defeat him, so he goes to the future until the legendary Dragonborn could. I don't really see this guy like continues with this kind of like sassy kind of undertone. I don't really get it.
same temple, we learn it's our destiny to stop him with a special shout that of course the Playbeards don't know. This is when we finally learn that their leader is actually a dragon named Dragon Mario, who also has no idea what the shout is.
He does know what the shout is. He was literally there during the peak of that essentially fight between the Nords and the dragons, freeing themselves from the dragon enslavement. The thing is that he can't teach it to you because he doesn't understand it. It came from a very essentially painful emotion, because the Thu'um, the way that dragons speak, it comes from essentially their understanding and feelings. It's a very there's a lot of synergy to it in that sense, and so that only those Nords who felt that suffering are able to use the dragon rend. If you read what the words mean, it would make sense why a dragon wouldn't even understand those words. In fact, Parthenax knows so much about the words and Alduin that he even tells you about the Elder Scroll and that you need one in order to learn it from the Nords. So that's a complete misunderstanding of the story.
But conveniently enough, there is a time wound on the top of the world where we meet him, and he tells us if we find an Elder Scroll, an ancient artifact of untold value, we can bring it back here, use it to see through the time wound, and maybe learn the shout from the people who created it.
And there you contradict yourself again about Parthenax's knowledge. And also Parthenax is intentionally on there. If you talk to him about why he's there, he explains it. I highly recommend listening to Parthenax. His dialogue is probably the best in the game and probably the most worth it.
Leads you to the College of Winterhold, where you then find out that there's a man who's been studying the Elder Scrolls for years and now lives in a cave up in the Northern Sea. You go to see him, he gives you almost exact directions on how to find the Elder Scroll and the keys you will need to get inside. Of course, to get there you're going to have to go into a Dwemer ruin, dodge past some Dwemer machines and some Falmer who are just kind of blind elves, and then solve a puzzle so you can gather.
The Falmer are snow elves who are essentially given refuge by the Dwemer after the Falmer essentially betrayed the Nords when they came onto the land. And so the Nords decided to kill them all, including the women and children. So when they sought refuge to the Dwemer, they made an agreement where essentially the Dwemer turned them into essentially slaves, and they lost their eyes and vision, which was intentional. It was from they're basically being poisoned, and they're that way permanently. And, you know, technically he doesn't tell you the exact location of the Elder Scroll. You sort of explore a dungeon, a Dwemer ruin for it. So I would kind of disagree with that.
The Elder Scroll and head back to the mountain to open the Time Wound. This is when we get a look into the past, where the Dragon War is currently happening. We see 3 ancient heroes fighting off dragons when they all come together to fight Alduin. They use the special shout Dragonrend to bring him down, but ultimately fail to defeat him. This is when they use the Elder Scroll to send Alduin into the future, where you emerge and find him to fight him. Now knowing Dragonrend, you and Dragon Mario team up to fight Alduin in a climactic battle that for some reason doesn't end the game. He escapes, and Dragon Mario for some reason doesn't know where he went. So unfortunately for us to find him, we're not only going to have to capture another dragon in the city of Whiterun that we just learned was built to capture dragons, but we're also going to have to broker a peace between the warring factions of Skyrim so that the Jarl of Whiterun will allow us to capture said dragon in his castle. This leads to a drawn-out peace council where you finally make peace and then are ready to go capture said dragon and head off to Skuldafn, a temple that...
You know, the Peace Council actually is a really good purpose, is because at the end you can get Delphine right onto the mountain, and then you can Fusur her right off the mountain, because Delphine sucks. How dare she even? How dare she even? Who is she to want us to kill Paarthurnax? This great teacher to us, this beloved master. Who is she? She's literally no one. She's this chick that is so neurotic and paranoid about the Thalmor, and you know, she's also super rude. You know, like jeez. And she makes these like blatant claims, like apparently we're supposed to trust her and not be like hasty about it, like what? And then she calls you a fool, right? Well, who's a fool? She trusted us. If we were really that bad, we could have just killed her right there, which makes her overconfident about herself. So yeah, I highly recommend you do that all the time. In fact, you should make a save there just in case you want to go back and do it again, because I hate Delphine. Yeah.
Will then lead you to Sovngarde, the Nord afterlife. Once here, it's a skip past the gate guard to the Temple of Valor, to gather the ancient heroes that we already know can't defeat Alduin, to finally then bring them outside and have your climactic battle with the 5 of you versus Alduin. And once you strike him down, you have beaten the game, saving the world from being eaten by the dreadworm Alduin. So the story isn't really anything special. There are moments where you actually have to follow people in blind faith, hoping that it will lead you to something that you kinda want. Skyrim is not an epic. It's not a fantasy epic that you're really gonna remember. You're more likely to remember the side stories in this game, like the Thieves Guild or the Dark Brotherhood, because the actual story built into Skyrim isn't very good. But I have to say that I'm mixed on this.
Are you kidding me, dude? This guy goes on to this literally insane rant that is completely false. And now I know this guy's never actually played this game, because the guilds are the worst. The companions is such a boring quest line. The Dark Brotherhood is such a boring quest line. I guess it kind of gets good near the end, but then at the very end it's just Radiant quest and it's boring. You know, that's just, it repeats like that. The Thieves Guild is kind of good. It's well scripted, I would say. I would say it's probably the only good quest line. But the main story is not bad. I don't even understand this argument. It's not an epic. It's not an awesome tale. What? He just explained why it's an awesome tale. You know, you're Dragonborn, and you know you gotta stop Alduin, the Devourer of Worlds. What?
Story. At the end of the day, you can't really say it's either good or bad because everybody makes their own story in Skyrim. But I can
good.
Confidently say that yes, you can beat Skyrim with an iron dagger. It's a challenge many of you have asked for. And we also learned that Skyrim's not really that great of a game. If it wasn't for the excellent modding community for Skyrim, I'm pretty sure this game would have died. It would have been one of those hot new releases that came out kind of glitchy, people played it for a little bit and then just gave up on. It wouldn't be coming out with a new release soon for the newly released consoles. So I have to give it up for the modding community. I don't personally mod that often, but I have to give them props for keeping this game alive. Really, what they're doing is making it so Bethesda can keep making money by selling this game more and more to its fans. So unlike most of the developers of the game, I will definitely give an applause to the modding community that keeps a game alive for so long. Their hard work and dedication is why Skyrim is still a game that so many people play to this day. So modders, I know you're going through something right now, but I applaud you for your work and thank you for keeping this game alive. It might not be my favorite and it might not be well made, but it's the janky mess we can all love together. But
Oh boy. Skyrim is a good game. It is. I've explained it. If you care about graphics, you're a complete idiot. I've explained it. It's a good game. There's a lot more to it, and I don't, if you haven't played it and haven't realized that, then, go play it, and you'll see. Okay? And what are you talking about? Hot new release for a new console? Dude, The Elder Scrolls 6 is never gonna come out until like 20 billion years from now, alright? What? That sentence, that clause didn't even make sense. Anyways. And then now I have to talk about modders, okay? For any modders who actually hear this, fuck you, buddy. I don't like you. I don't care about your mods. Here's my advice to you. Take your mods off of Nexus right now. Take them all down. You know why, buddy? Because I have them all already and I'll share them with all my friends. I do not care. Take them down because of that. Have your little spastic event. Don't care. I picked up most of my mods from Mega anyways. I can't deal with that Nexus bullcrap. 2 megabyte. I'm not paying money, dude. Only thing I'm paying money for is for Skyrim, because that money needs to go to God Howard so he can freaking make the Elder Scrolls 6 already. God dang. Please Todd Howard, do it. Please, man. And I know it's gonna be bad, but just please, man. So yeah, modders are like the biggest spastic freaks ever, and there is this few modders out there who are actually cool guys, and most of them don't post on Nexus anyway. So if you're those few cool guys, you know who you are, because you already know that most modders are complete freaks. So there's no need for me to give you a pat on the back, because you already know you're awesome. Clearly you're not insecure enough to post threats like, if you edit my mod in any way, I am taking it down. Alright, hold up, let me do like a voice for it. If you edit my mod in any way, I will take it off of Nexus, okay? I swear I'll do it, guys. Do not edit my stuff, it's mine. Yeah, fuck you, you big baby. I'm doing it. I don't care. Your mod is a piece of shit, especially to the guy who does the unofficial Skyrim patch. You suck, and the guy who does immersive citizens, yeah, you suck too. Please take down your mods. Do it. I'm editing them right now. I'm doing what I want to them. They're mine now, buddy. They're mine. What you gonna do, huh? What you gonna do to me, buddy? All my edits, mine. So yeah, so clearly this guy doesn't even know much about mods or mod devs. Those guys are actual freaks, except for the few heroes. Most game devs are total freaks too, to be honest, except for the few heroes. That's just how the world is. There's just a ton of complete fucking ill psychopaths, total spastic freaks out there, and there's these few like normal people. I would say I'm probably somewhere along that line. Maybe. Clearly this guy is on one side of the line, and based on what he says about graphics, I think you know where he is. You know, I'm pretty sure this is coming to a close. So if it is, use AdBlock. You're a complete moron. Like, I don't care if you take offense, you're a complete moron if you don't do it. Alright? And there's nothing wrong with being a complete dimwit, because you can always change, unless you hear me say that and then continue to choose to be a moron. Then you're probably genetically impaired or something, dude. You know, like, maybe you have brain damage, no fixing you. So in that case, like, don't even feel bad about me calling you a dimwit. Like, nothing you could do, man.
Dragonborn, huh? Was it your ma or your pa that was the dragon?